So when you hear that report, you do get the sense that there might have been a lot of pent-up anger here. So where could all this anger be coming from? Joining us now for some expert analysis on this is psychologist Dr. Erik Fisher, live from the studio there in Atlanta. Dr. Fisher, thank you so much for being with us this day. Obviously, you hear that story and you see that Dylann Roof had warning signs out there that basically he had, he told a friend at one point that he wanted to start a race war and even posted pictures of himself with flags symbolic of hate. Seems like he was really crying out for someone to see him.
Right, and a lot of times you see signs of people who are showing these signs that, as his friend said, we didn't take him seriously. What I always teach people about hate is I say there's 7 protective emotions, that primary protective emotions that we experience, which are anger, rage, arrogance, flippancy, defiance, sarcasm, and hatred. These always protect something inside that feels weak or vulnerable, our own shame or helplessness or hopelessness or fear. And clearly from the things that he stated, he felt threatened by the culture of, the African-American culture, and what he even said when he went to that church. Some of the comments he made said he felt like they were moving into their community. He wanted segregation. All this is about his feelings of fear and threat that he covered up with his hatred.
Dr. Fisher, take us into the mind of a person who can walk into a building like this, a house of worship, can be welcomed by its members, can sit with them for an hour, to make them feel that he's not a threat. Then a person who can announce himself to say, as we've heard, that he was there to shoot black people and then in cold blood shoot and kill 9 people. Take us into the mind of that person. How can a person do that?
Well, I think we have to look at his calculated behavior. This is something that he had thought about and prepared to do. And sometimes being able to sit with people that you perceive are your enemy and put that act on, that I'm with you, I'm part of you, I'm participating in this, is a feeling of power that they have, that he knew what the outcome was going to be before he went in there. And the ability to do that gave him some potential sense of satisfaction of what he had done. The tragedy is that we don't see our own blindness to the emotions that we feel in understanding why they're there and what we need to do them. And that's something we really have to work on in our culture as a whole.
Would a person like Roof, when faced with these, the families of these victims, and you heard what they had to say, I'm sure, earlier in the newscast, but when faced with those comments and their forgiveness, they forgave him. But when faced with that, do you think it even registers with him?
He is stuck in his own, or people who commit crimes like that are often stuck in their own belief patterns, and often their belief patterns are surrounded by their mistrust and their own feelings of betrayal and their thoughts of how they perceive the world. He potentially may see some of that, and maybe it starts to register the horrible mistake he made, and/or he may use it as justification as how he could feel manipulated even more. It all depends on sometimes the people around him. It depends on what's going on deeper inside, because we often have layers of emotions and attitudes and beliefs that we use and we call on in different situations in life. So my hope is that he'll begin to see this, and my hope is that we can see the need as communities, not just in Charleston, but really nationally and even internationally, to see the need to begin to understand what feeds hate, which is always going to be fear or shame or guilt or emotions underneath that. To me, the power of that community to so immediately show love, forgiveness, and compassion is a testament and example that we should all be willing to look at within ourselves.
A lot of people are trying to make the best sense that they can out of what happened here, and a senseless murder, to say the least. But Dr. Erik Fisher, we appreciate your insight in helping us to understand. Thank you.
It's an honor.
And we'll have much